Hello, and welcome to the first edition of Sad Boys Storytime. I'm Brendan, and I have a lot of stories to tell you that may bum you out, may not bum you out, or you can share with your friends to make them laugh just because their lives are better than mine. Anyway, first off, I'm clumsy. Second off, I'm clumsy. Thirds off, I'm clumsy, and I have a room reserved for me at the fucking ER because I'm there so often. I could have hurt myself on practically anything. Normal stuff doesn't hurt me. Like, operating power tools, saws, driving. It's the normal stuff that doesn't hurt me. It's the stuff that normal people don't get hurt on that fucking hurt me. I can't walk straight. I can't get under short objects because I constantly forget how to frickin' duck because I'm so fucking tall. You'd think I would have learned that by now. They just don't teach you to duck. Long story short. First story I'd like to talk about is the time where everything decided to go wrong in a single morning for me. I'm waking up around 6 o'clock in the morning. It's early. I don't have to be to work for 8, so, I'm waking up, I'm groggy. I walk over to my door to get in the shower, nail my foot on the door frame. So I'm just walking into the shower, I get in, put my feet down, and my foot kinda hurts a little bit. And I'm just like, oh, well, it's whatever. I probably just bruised it or something. So I look down, and my toe, normally it's supposed to be like this, straight. It's at a 90-degree angle. And at the time, I'm just like, well, maybe I just dislocated it. It wasn't bothering me too much, so I just decided to go on with, my naked time being soapy. Afterwards, I'm walking out, all nice and wet and everything, and my mother's standing down the hall from me. And I'm just like, hey, can you take a look at this? I think I messed up my foot. She comes over, she looks at it, she's like, oh yeah, it's probably just dislocated. There's a Doctor's Express down the street from my house. We rushed there before work. Well, not exactly rush. I just threw on a pair of flip-flops, some crappy shorts, thinking, oh, okay, they'll just bend it back into place and then everything will be peachy. Everything was not peachy. Anyway, I get brought into my room by a very calm little nurse. It's early too. They had just opened at like 7. And so they bring me into the room. They're like, oh, we're gonna have to take a few x-rays. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. So at this point, I'm walking fairly normal. So I'm just like, okay, this isn't bad. This is not bad at all. I can deal with this. I go in, get my x-rays. They send me back to my little room. I'm sitting there, just twiddling my thumbs for about 15, 20 minutes, waiting for the results. Again, Doctor's Express. Then the nurse comes in. Not the x-ray tech, the nurse. Not the nurse that brought me to the place. Another one. So at this point, I'm at 3 nurses. I don't know any of their names, so I can't go, yeah, what happened to nurse? Because it's early. I haven't had coffee yet. And I have other stuff to worry about except my fucking foot. So the nurse comes in. She's just like, hey, you might want to come see this. And I'm just like, what did I do? Did I break something? She's like, no, just come see this. Break something is going to come back into this in a few seconds. I go up to the x-ray machine. She pulls up a normal foot. She's like, here's a normal foot. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is yours. Pulls up mine. Bone was like shattered everywhere inside of my toe. And she looks at me, she's like, I would be crying. I don't know how you're walking this well right now. And I'm just standing there just like, well, it doesn't hurt that bad. Can't you just pop it back into place, tape it together? Then they're just like, well, you might need to go see an orthopedic surgeon. And I'm just like, okay, why is that? And apparently, they don't feel comfortable just bending something back into place and taping it together. So I'm just sitting there like, okay, where's the nearest one? So they're just like, oh, well, they're not going to be able to get you in until tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, cool. What am I supposed to do now? And they're like, well, there's another orthopedist. And I'm like, okay, call them. Oh, he's not going to be able to get you until next week. How many fucking orthopedic surgeons are busy? Like, how many people are messing up their feet that they need to have 10 orthopedic surgeons within a 20-mile radius and all of them be booked up for the next couple weeks? That makes no sense. I don't understand how people can just oh, my foot's broken. Oh, might as well go see an orthopedist. Oh, wait. It's just frustrating. Anyway, 20 minutes later, apparently the guy from Holyoke Hospital calls back and he was just like, oh, wait, I was looking at the wrong date on my calendar. That's a problem right there. If you are a doctor and you're looking at the wrong date on your calendar when you're trying to get patients scheduled, what are you doing? You have one job. Make sure you take care of patients. It's your one job. So I'm just like, okay, cool. He's like, can you be here in 20 minutes? And I'm like, well, walk into the doctor's office. It's on the 3rd floor. At this point, my foot's actually kind of hurting, so I'm just like, okay, this kind of sucks. The initial shock had worn off, and once I get in, I check in, they're just like, oh, we don't see your name. And I'm like, I just got penciled in like 15 minutes ago. Then the guy comes out and he's just like, hey, I'm going to have an appointment coming in about 45 minutes. And I'm like, hey, aren't you Dr. So-and-so? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I just called you. I'm already here. I'm not waiting another 45 minutes. Sure, I may have been a little rude, but, certain stuff just needs to be said. And I really just wanted to get to work at this point because it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I was supposed to be there for 8. I'm not making money. I need to make money. And he's just like, okay, we'll get you into the x-ray office now. And I'm like, I already have x-rays done. They should have sent them over. And then he was just like, oh, no, they didn't. And I'm like, great, more waste of my time. It's frustrating. I hate waiting for doctors because it just takes forever. I understand they have more important stuff to do, but certain times I just want my stuff to be fixed and sent on my way. I get into the x-ray room, they lay me on a table, and I'm a little taller than most of these tables that they need to use. I don't know why I just air quoted that. A fucking table's a fucking table. They x-rayed my foot, sent me back into the room again, and they were just like, oh, we need to give you a wheelchair. We don't feel comfortable with you walking. And I'm like, okay, this is alright. I mean, I walked in here fine. I walked to the office fine. I walked to the x-ray room fine. But now you want me to sit in a wheelchair in order to make sure that I am okay. So, they bring me back, they wheel me in. I just normally walk back onto the little examining table, glaring at them, obviously, just because at this point, I'm so frustrated. Everything's ridiculous. I don't understand how anybody in the world can be this fucking stupid. Everything looks exactly the same as it did before. They're like, oh man, I don't know how you're walking. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Whatever. He comes back in with my x-ray and he's like, well, we're gonna need to reset it. So we're gonna shoot you up with some painkillers and everything is gonna be nice and quick. I hate needles. I'm epileptic, so I'm not sure what painkillers will do to me. So I choose to avoid them whenever possible. So I was like, hey, listen, I can't take either of those and I hate needles. So do you think we can just snap it back into place as is? He was like, well, it'll hurt. And I'm like, just get it over with. I have nothing else to do. He's like, okay. I look up, I stare at the ceiling. He's like, 3, 2, 1. And then just, you hear like a freaking snap as I feel my toe go back into place and him just tape it up with one of those tongue depressors in between my toes, which is very uncomfortable. Don't get a tongue depressor between your toes because it's going to be a bad time. Very bad time. After all that's done and over with, he's just like, okay, now we need to get you a boot. And I'm like, I'm gonna be fine walking like this. I don't need a boot. And he's just like, it's just procedure. We need to give you a boot. And I'm like, fine, whatever. This was my left foot. Apparently, the only one they had left was for a right foot. So, not only am I wearing this boot that I do not want, but it's also for the wrong foot. So I'm just, at this point, I'm like, could this get any more annoying? Could this get any more annoying? It got more annoying. He was just like, okay, now you can't go to work for the next 2 days. And I'm like, why? And he's like, you said you're going to be on your feet a lot. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't hurt that bad. And he's just like, well, it's just a precaution. And I'm like, fuck. So, get in my car, drive home. Anyway, that's all for today. Stay bummed.